Okay, here we go.
Danny, you ready?
Yep.
Perfect, okay. Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, November 30, 2022, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. sharp. You can join today's board meeting via phone, dial 971-254-3149, conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on a best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online at tctvonline.com and click on live broadcasts. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please mute your phones. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email again publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. So, Deb, do we have anyone in the room signed up for public comment or anyone registered online for public comment?
We do have people signed up. Well, for the public hearing, I'm sorry.
You have people registered for comment during the public hearing?
Yeah, for the public hearing.
Do we have anyone registered for public comment during the board meeting?
No, we do not.
We do not. Okay, thank you.
What's the difference?
So at the public hearing, and I think probably most of the people in this room, we have a public hearing on ordinance. Yes, thank you. We have two public hearings, so that public hearing is a 10 a.m. time certain.
10:30 time certain.
And so the 10 a.m. time certain is
Property tax exemption.
property tax exemption. Okay, perfect, thank you.
What about public comment?
During this period, or they can wait and provide it during the public hearing.
Okay, so the public hearing that I think most of you in this room want to make public comment doesn't start until 10:30. It's a 10:30 a.m. time certain public hearing. We cannot start before. If things go long, we can go after. But if you do want to make public comment, if you have things to do and you do want to make public comment about Ordinance 88 to the board, you can do that now. So, Bill, are we good with that? Can we do that?
I would much prefer to read this public testimony at time set for the public hearing.
Okay.
Rather than, we need to open the public hearing.
Right.
Set testimony at that time.
Okay. So, I guess if you want to provide public comment, testimony on Ordinance 88, you are going to have to wait until 10:30 or after when we open that public hearing. Okay. So, let's start with the board meeting. We called the meeting to order. We would like everyone in the room to please sign the guest list. And Deb, where is that guest list?
It's on the shelf back here, Commissioner.
On the shelf in the back. Thank you very much. So we start as we do every day. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Starr, would you lead us today?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we do not have any public comment. So please state your name and residence for the record.
Logan Hooley, Netarts, Oregon.
Thank you.
Are we still under a county emergency declaration at this point?
I don't believe so.
When was that repealed?
think it wasn't repealed, I think it expired.
Did it expire?
I think so. I think so.
Is that affirmative, or we don't know for sure?
I'm sure.
I don't think any of the companies feel that it was under, we are under a state of emergency.
I can pull it up while we're sitting here, but I think it just expired in July last year, consistent with the governor's expiration.
Okay, thank you.
You? Anyone else want to provide public comments? Should have been signed up, but we'll allow public comment if you have public comment.
But not on ordinance 88, right?
Not till 10:30.
Not till 10:30.
We're not allowed.
Can't comment on that right now, right? Okay.
Doesn't matter, it's not open.
Our county council is saying he would prefer you to comment on ordinance 88 when we open the public hearings.
He can do whatever he wants to do regardless of what we have to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it was noticed for 10:30, and there may be folks coming in at 10:30 who want to testify, and they might want to hear what you have to say also, so I don't think we can start this until the time certain, if it's advertised at 10:30.
Can't just comment and note it and everything else can I do too?
Yeah, so those of you standing in the back, there are still some chairs available. Okay, so, non-agenda items. We do have one non-agenda item today, and why don't we take that up in the beginning? So, I am attending the Oregon California Counties, Association of Oregon and California Counties annual board meeting on Friday. This is ONC lands, Oregon California Timberland, and it is allowed at the ONC meeting for a commissioner or multiple commissioners to carry proxies from their other board members. And so what I have before us today is a proxy allowing me, not just one vote at the ONC meeting, but possibly 3 votes at the ONC meeting. So I will read this proxy statement as it's written. Tillamook may confirm. Tillamook County Board of Commissioners has designated David Yamamoto to represent Tillamook County on the Association of ONC Counties Board of Directors. This letter authorizes Tillamook County Commissioners over Yamamoto to cast proxy votes on behalf of Commissioners Aaron Scar and Mary Faith Bell at the Association of Oregon and California Counties ONC annual meeting on Friday, December 2nd, 2022. So with that, I'll open this up to discussion. Was that a motion? That was a motion. Thank you, Bill. So any discussion?
A sense of what will be on that agenda, what items are likely to be voted on, other than standard review.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our legislative administrative calendar, item number 5. Discussion and consideration of the State of Oregon Department of Human Services Intergovernmental Grant Agreement number 177342 for Youth Experiencing Homelessness Program. And with us, we have Thomas Fiorelli, Housing Coordinator, also known as TJ. TJ, welcome.
Good morning, County Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for your time today. I'm here with a very exciting grant that we were very lucky and privileged to be awarded. So we were here just a couple of weeks ago to approve House Bill 4123, and this was the Coordinated Homeless Response Pilot Program through the state of Oregon. That was the $1 million grant that the state provided to 8 different communities, Tillamook County being one of those rural counties that received the $1 million. Following our proposal and letter of intent for that grant, we had begun meeting with multiple people from the state who had actually attended the social services networking meeting that Commissioner Scar had set up many years ago. And through those interactions and relationships, I met a man named Matt Rasmussen from the Youth Experiencing Homelessness Program who told us about a grant specifically for youth experiencing homelessness. The contingency was that there had to be some sort of multi-stakeholder organization or a board that existed in order to be competitive for that grant. we had some discussions offline and talked about how we were forming House Bill 4123 and how wonderful it would be if we could leverage that grant in order to apply for this grant from the Youth Experiencing Homelessness Program for $150,000. We threw our hat in the ring, leveraging House Bill 4123, and now that that has been signed by you a few weeks ago, I'm here today to have this grant signed and hopefully approved so that we can specifically focus on homelessness as it affects our youth. There are important components with youth experiencing homelessness that don't necessarily exist when we talk about the general homeless population as adults. There are HIPAA and FERPA requirements, in addition to multiple other pieces, including our McKinney-Vento liaisons with our 3 different school districts throughout the county. So what I'm here today to ask you for is to review and hopefully approve the grant that you have in front of you, which we've leveraged from House Bill 4123, to add an additional $150,000 to our homelessness efforts over the next 5 years.
What an opportunity. Comments, questions?
I would just say, this is an amazing opportunity, and thank you, TJ, for the work you did to get us to this point. For years, as most of you know, I've worked in the area of homelessness in Tillamook County, and for years we have known that there are many, many youth experiencing homelessness, but when it comes time to do the count of those experiencing homelessness, they are noticeably absent from the count because they don't seek services. They float from one couch to the next. There are families in our community that are amazing, that support youth who do not have a good home environment, but ultimately these youth are impacted by the time they spend experiencing homelessness.
Oh.
So these funds will allow us to do some work specific with those youth, specifically to identify and support the youth that are in this position and to create programs and structures in our county that currently don't exist. So it's a really exciting opportunity, and the time is absolutely right with House Bill 4123 bringing together stakeholders to look at the larger issue. So I'm very excited about it. I know TJ brings some background specifically in working with youth experiencing homelessness from his prior work in Lane County, and so it's an amazing time to do this.
I'm encouraged, I'm hopeful about it, I hope we get it. I think all of us are aware that there's a growing homelessness problem in Tillamook County and elsewhere, and it's not always obvious that there's a homeless problem with youth because they're not as visually present, but it's certainly true. And as Commissioner Starr said, you know, they're couch surfing, they're staying here and staying there. I used to live on Upper Nestucca, and there were families living in the BLM campground up there, and the school bus would stop there because there were children who were living in the campground. And so I think it's great. I hope we get it, and thank you for your work.
Yeah, I concur with both other commissioners. We don't see a lot of the homeless problem that we have in Tillamook County. It's pretty well hidden, and yet we do have a huge homeless problem in Tillamook County. It gets even worse when you start thinking that this homeless problem also goes down to the youth in this community, and they are everywhere. You don't see the kids as much, although you see them kind of across the street, roaming around at nights. Again, a lot of them are couch surfing, going from home to home with whoever will take them in for a dry, warm place to sleep. But that's not with all the youth. So these grant opportunities really are terrific. They are. So TJ, appreciate very much you really digging in after I know you're working very much with housing and homelessness and a lot of other things at community development. I appreciate very much all the effort that you're putting in to make sure that we get these grant opportunities to work in. So
Thank you, Commissioners. May I make one other comment? To note on what Commissioner Scarr said a moment ago, when we began to look at the census data, there's a point in time count that looks at adults and youth throughout the county. The number of youth that the federal government believes are homeless or at risk of homelessness in Tillamook County is 5. 5 total. This grant will hopefully help us reveal and shine light on the true issues that are there and address them. Thank you.
Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, with approval of a State of Oregon Department of Human Services intergovernmental grant agreement number 177342 for the Youth Experiencing Homelessness Program.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, TJ. Moving on to item number 6, discussion and consideration of State of Oregon County Fairgrounds Capital Improvements Grant Assess Agreement, contract number C2022538 for the Fairgrounds Electrical Project. And with us, I believe, not in the room, online, we've got Cami Von Segren, Manager, Tillamook County Fairgrounds. Good morning, Cami.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Thank you for being with us.
Yes. So I can just give you briefly a little bit of background on this grant agreement. This was a project that the Oregon Fairs Association and the State Fair collaborated to try to secure some funding for capital projects across the state for all county fairs. So we actually were approved for $10 million in funding, and this was to be divided amongst all of the 36 county fairs and then also possibly the state fair. So we lobbied for the effort. We were able to get the money. It actually was being funneled through Business Oregon, and so we all had to apply to get that grant funding. So this is the first implementation of the disbursement, which is for half of the county fairs that applied, and we were selected in that first half. So we're very fortunate. It comes to $277,777 total for each of the entities that put their applications in. So we selected a project that was already slated for some TLT funding so that we can help accomplish getting this done. And so we have put in for the West Power project. And I know that you commissioners are probably very familiar with this. And I'm so excited that we're going to, if approved, we're going to be able to get started on that implementation. So that is the kind of the crux of what's behind this. It has to be ran through the county because it is county property. And that is why the agreement is with Tillamook County and not with Tillamook County Fairgrounds.
Thank you, Cami. Comments, questions?
Thank you, Cami. Thanks for your work thank you, Cami, for your work in applying for this and getting these funds. I think it's terrific. I think it's terrific that all 36 Oregon counties will benefit from this money because our fairgrounds is in pretty good shape. We know there are things we want to do there, but other fairgrounds around the state are in far worse shape than ours, and so I think it's great that this is available.
Yeah, and I would just agree. It's wonderful that you went after additional funding. We are proud that we can help provide some support with the TLT, but we know that projects are expensive. It takes a lot to get things done, and so I'm appreciative that the Oregon Fair Association was able to do the lobbying work to get the $10 million, and that you did the hard work to get your grant in there and so get the matching dollars, if you will, for the TLT. So good work, and we'll look forward to that being completed.
Cami, we've talked about this before, but your board, most boards are just that, people that sit there and make decisions. Yours is actually a working board, and I mean, your board members are absolutely amazing. During the Tillamook County Fair, you always see all of your board members running around the fair doing things. I mean, they're picking up trash and moving objects and chairs, and just on a regular basis. People don't realize how much actual work your fair board does at the fairgrounds. It's truly amazing. And I know we've been talking about electrical issues at the fairgrounds for quite some time. This is a great opportunity, almost $278,000 to really get some electrical work done at the fairgrounds. I think this is terrific, I really do. So again, we thank you so much for all you do and your fair board, but also in making sure that Tillamook County got its fair share of that $10 million, which is terrific. Thank you. So with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the State of Oregon County Fairgrounds Capital Improvements Grants Agreement, contract number C2022538 for the Fairgrounds Electrical Project.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Cami.
Thank you so much.
Item number 7, discussion and consideration of a resolution in the matter of authorizing the execution of documents concerning the purchase of real property owned by Mark McClaskey and Deborah McClaskey. And with us this morning, Rachel Haggerty, Board of Commissioners, Chief of Staff. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Commissioners. On October 26th, the board approved an offer for a .73 acre parcel, the McClaskey lot, located off of Highway 101, below the post office. The offer has been accepted by the McClaskeys and we're preparing for closing. Tyco Title requires a resolution before you to be signed by the board authorizing the chair to sign closing documents, which should be within the next week or so. Ready for your consideration?
Perfect. Been talking about this one for a long time. Yep. Comments, questions?
I would just say for perhaps those who are in the room or are listening online that haven't heard our prior comments, this property will be used ultimately for parking as we expand the capacity needed in our office space related to courthouse and commissioner space that's needed. We swapped rooms with the circuit court in the last year in order to give them the space they needed to get through their court docket. As a result, we are in a smaller room here today, which you can see is challenging for hearings such as what will be coming up. So there is a long-term goal to expand our capacity so that we can do the government work that we need to do, and this is a piece in that for parking. So.
And the property's been on the market for a couple of years, and it became available when we had the Highway 101 6 bypass, and so we've been watching it to see, a business we're going to buy it, but it's been available for a couple of years, so we're just ready to move on it for parking.
And it was just a great opportunity, I think, to make sure that we have adequate parking. Parking has always been a problem. People park all around the courthouse, and so we knew that as staffing levels increase, as we get back to staffing levels we should be at, currently we are understaffed by quite a bit, and that's because people just for some reason don't seem to be looking for jobs. But that's not going to be forever, and so this was a great opportunity, and I'm glad we are finally closing on that opportunity. So, with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a resolution in the matter of authorizing the execution of documents concerning the purchase of real property owned by Mark McClaskey and Deborah McClaskey.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Rachel. Item number 8, discussion and consideration of a State of Oregon Housing and Community Services Department sponsorship grant agreement, number 7442, for the North Coast Housing Summit. And Commissioner Scar, you're going to carry this one.
I am, thank you. So as we have spoken about before, I am convening a North Coast Housing Summit. It's next week, December 6th, that we're holding at the Seaside Convention Center. We have about 200 people registered at the moment, and the registration is still open, so we're looking forward to a good crowd to come together and talk about coastal successes, really, so we can learn from each other. We have folks coming from Lincoln, Tillamook, Clatsop, and Western Columbia counties. What you have before you is an agreement with Oregon Housing Community Services. In order to pay for this event, we receive sponsorship from Oregon Housing Community Services, from the Department of Land, Conservation and Development, and the Columbia Pacific CCO. So each of those had their own special way that they needed to provide their funds to us, and with this particular department, it required a DocuSign document that I was unable to sign, and that Rachel requires our approval to assign. So what's in front of you today is that document.
Terrific, and thanks for your work on the Housing Summit. I think that's exciting.
So it's apropos, I think, that you kind of convened this. Tillamook County, really, in so many different areas, leads the state of Oregon. Tillamook County is seen as a county that really does get things done on a regular basis when it comes to all sorts of things. Natural resources, when it comes to habitat restoration, fish recovery, clean water. That's one of the messages that I take to AOC, the Association of Oregon Counties, on a regular basis. I remember the first time I stood up before AOC and said that when it comes to clean water, habitat restoration, and fish recovery, no Oregon county does this better than Tillamook County. As you can imagine, I saw eyes, 200 pairs of eyes roll across the room. So that's when we decided to start bringing people to Tillamook County. take them on tour. And that's kind of when we also developed the Tillamook Working Lands and Waters Cooperative, grassroots organization of timber companies and fishing industry and the dairy industry. And we started doing tours. One of the first tours we did was a public tour. The second tour we did was for county commissioners from all across the state. We brought in at that point, so this was when, after an election, when we've got new commissioners coming on board, we have what's called county college. It's a 6-month situation where people, new commissioners from across the state get together on a regular basis, go through classes, explaining exactly what commissioners do. And the vast majority of people have no idea what commissioners do. They do not. It's quite an extensive list of things. So we brought the new county college class to Tillamook County. That was 33 or 34 commissioners from across the state. And after we started doing these tours, eyes in the room no longer rolled when I say that Tillamook County is the best when it comes to clean water and habitat restoration and fish recovery. And that's just one of the areas that we excel in. The idea behind these tours was so the commissioners from across the state can take the ideas that they see here in Tillamook County and take them back to their counties. We're in the same position with housing and so many other issues across the state. Tillamook County really is a leader across the state. So this is another one of those examples, and I am in complete agreement with it. So with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the State of Oregon Housing and Community Services Department Sponsorship Grant Agreement number 7442 for the North Coast Housing Summit.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Commissioner. Item number 9, discussion and consideration of a change order to contract number 6260 with Columbia Cascade Construction Incorporated for the Tillamook County Courthouse Interior Remodel Project. And again, Rachel Haggerty, Board of Commissioners, Chief of Staff.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to first respond to Mr. Cooley's question about the expiration of
Yes.
So the state of emergency in response to the COVID-19 pandemic did expire June 30th, 2022.
Thank you for that.
So I have 2 documents before you today that will close out the first phase of the county's 3-phase project to resolve space and security issues here in the courthouse. So the first phase, is Commissioner Scar described, was the switching of the meeting rooms and remodeling of this former courtroom. And so the second phase will be construction of a county annex, either on the south courthouse lawn or the east lawn adjacent to the Pioneer Museum. And then the final third phase would be subsequent remodeling in the courthouse with vacated spaces from the offices moving to the annex. So the first document before you today effectively closes out the remodeling. There was a savings on the prime contractor's contract. We were over budget with the other work that needed to happen, but with Columbia Cascades contract, we had a savings of $4,364. And so this is paperwork that captures that and documents the substantial completion of the project and transfers the facilities back to the county. So that's ready for your consideration.
Perfect, thank you. Comments, questions?
No, not other than to thank Rachel for her work on this.
Yeah, agreed. It was a big project with, as always happens, unexpected pieces. And so I'm pleased that we are done, and it's great that there was a small savings recognized.
And also, if I may.
Sure.
For the benefit of folks in the room, it might not be widely known that the county is responsible to provide safe and adequate court space for the court services. And this used to be courtroom 108, and it wasn't big enough, it wasn't adequate, and it wasn't safe. And so we traded our meeting room with Judge Hill and the circuit court, which is why we're now in this meeting room, which is maybe not adequate for a big public hearing, but in general is adequate for our needs. And now the circuit court has the rooms that we formerly had upstairs. So.
Thank you for that explanation. That was, we've been working with the court for many years. And this room was actually expanded. There was a wall to cover that, I'm understanding. That was additional storage space for circuit court offices. When we decided to give up our commissioners' meeting rooms A and B upstairs, we had to remodel this. And that's the whole issue here. We had to remodel A and B to turn into courtroom 224. So they've got a nice big courtroom upstairs now. But for 6 months, we were downstairs in the Nestucca room, holding our meetings, and that was half the size of this room. And so it was very tight, but that was as we were remodeling what used to be courtroom 108 here. So again, is it adequate? It works. It does work for us, which is great. Much better than us meeting in the Nestucca room downstairs.
And it's wonderful to have solutions. I can remember as, a resident of Tillamook County, Commissioner Laphart, and even before him working on the idea of a new circuit court building and trying to figure out how we meet our mandate to the circuit court. So I'm pleased that we have found a way to do that was far less expensive than an entirely new circuit court facility.
Okay, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of change order to contract number 6260 with Columbia Cascade Construction Incorporated for the Tillamook County Courthouse Interior Remodel Project.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 10, discussion and consideration of a certificate of substantial completion with Columbia Cascade Construction Incorporated for the Tillamook County Courthouse Interior Remodel Project. Again, Rachel Haggerty.
And this is another document required by the engineer to document substantial completion and the contractor's completion of the project.
So what I'm hearing is that punch list was pretty much completed?
Yep.
Okay. Comments, questions? Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a certificate of substantial completion with the Columbia Cascade Construction, Inc. for the Tillamook County Courthouse Interior Remodel Project.
And I second.
Have a
I just
mo-
thought I'd give us a little, tension in the room.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. So we are up against our first public hearing, which is a 10 a.m. time certain meeting. Time being 9:32, we're a little early. So we're going to recess this board meeting at now 9:33 a.m. and we will reconvene our first public hearing at 10 a.m.